Welcome to On Air Education. I'm your host, Jonathan Scott. If you're new to our show, our message is simple but complex. Our goal is to help teachers and parents with distance and blended learning by inviting friends in the entertainment field to share their secrets of engaging an audience. We've learned that teaching math is different than teaching science, and teaching history is different than teaching English. Today's show will explore the art and science of songwriting. Music is the universal language we all appreciate. Music is the binding force that holds us together. Music soothes the savage beast. The violin music even calmed Frankenstein. I often say that I'm blessed by having amazingly talented friends, and today's show is the living proof of that. Joining me in studio and acting as our co-host is a Vegas headliner who recently had 2 songs on the Billboard Jazz charts. Clint Holmes used to joke in his act that he only had 1 hit song. But how many have you had? Please say hello to my bestie, Mr. Clint Holmes.
How are you, Jonathan? Or as I call you, Jay Scott. Good to be here.
That's great.
Good to be here. I haven't been to this studio before. Now I are the co-host.
And Clint was actually in our first episode a year and a half ago when we started this tremendous journey that we're on. Also in studio is an educator from Del Sol High School to provide us with firsthand knowledge on what engages his students. Please say hello to music teacher Paul Kleeman.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm excited for this opportunity to talk about what it's like to be a high school teacher.
And what is it like to be a high school teacher?
Challenging at times. It's really cool, actually. I get to teach guitar to high school kids every day, 5 days a week. I get to help inspire future guitar players and songwriters and all these fun things.
So you are the right guy for this show. And we are thrilled to have songwriter Don McLean join us from California, celebrating the 50th anniversary of his iconic hit song, American Pie. Hey, Don, can you hear us?
I can hear you without a microphone. Yes, of course.
I've been accused of being loud before, but I have to ask you the story behind the song that everybody wants to know. The day the music died. They know the song tells the story, but what's the story behind the story for you that was your inspiration?
Well, I don't think most people realize that I was the paper boy. In that song, and in the first part of the song. And we've actually come out now with a children's book called American Pie, a Fable, which is the story of that boy and delivering the paper and all that. And we've got one of the primary people, I think it's Zoe's List, whatever the name of that show is, Peter Gallagher. I think he's going to read that for an audio version, and there's going to be an animated show of some sort for children from that book. So there's that, and then there's a documentary that's being worked on right now called "The Day the Music Died: The Story of American Pie." It's all in conjunction with this 50th anniversary of the album American Pie, because as you all know, there's Vincent and Winterwood and the Waters of Babylon and many, many songs that people know are on that record. So we're really celebrating that release, and it'll keep going probably for a couple of years because we're going to be doing things with Vincent next year. So we're getting a lot out of this, and we're having a lot of fun doing it. But the answer to your question is best found really in this documentary movie. But I can just tell you, I wanted to write a very unusual song about the United States, about America, about politics and music all together. And I did that basically for myself. But I was amazed at what a good record we made. I had a good producer named Ed Freeman. And it became #1 all over the world, as did Vincent, as did Crying. And so I've had 3 #1s worldwide. And so, I really don't know how that happened. You were going to talk about what makes a hit record. I wish I knew.
Well, Don, we've got some other people here. Clint.
Yeah, Don, let me ask you this. Are you inspired by every song you write? In other words, does every song you write come from inspiration, or is it sometimes just sitting down and saying, I need to write something, and ideas come to you? I know for me, I will see something on television or in a movie or read something, and my mind will go, wait a minute, that's an interesting subject to write a song about. How does that come for you?
Well, I don't really consider myself a songwriter. I'm more of an inventor. I have these ideas, these concepts. So, a little song like Wonderful Baby is not the same as a song like Dreidel or Vincent,
Right.
or Castles in the Air or And I Love You So, all songs that I've written. They're all radically different because I have, like in the case of And I Love You So, which is the most recorded song I ever had, or ever will have, that I wanted to write a song like I heard on the radio, when I was growing up, the kind of songs that, would hear Sinatra sing or Bing Crosby or, I'm 76 years old. So when I was in 1950, I was 5, I was 6, and we didn't even have a television until I was 8 or 9, I think. So there was a lot of time for kids to develop an imagination, and learn to concentrate. And I don't think they have that now because the computers are all over them immediately.
Yeah, it's a different. It's a different. Even for me, and because I'm writing some theater stuff, and I'm writing some what I would call jazz stuff, and some pop stuff, and the inspiration comes in different ways. And then you run, and then some of them really. That kind of is another question for you, Don. For me, when I'm writing, I may have an idea, and it may take me days, weeks, months to develop that idea, or I have an idea and it just kind of goes boom, there it is. Does that happen to you when you're writing?
You have ability, you see, and it's very hard for the average person to write even a bad song. They can't even do that. They can't even begin to know how to write a terrible song.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
So, if you have to have a certain innate ability to just be able to write any kind of song. And I think it's hit or miss, though. I can't say that I would, sit down and every time I want to do something, I've had songs that I've worked on for years that were sitting around, and all of a sudden one day I figured out the right melody for it, or I've got a lot of stuff in my head in different compartments, and like we all do. Yeah. And so, as I say, it's hard to write even a bad song for most people. So it's a gift that you have, and once in a while you score with something, you really put it together. And I think the more you do it, the better you get at it. I think the more you do it, you got to keep at it, because you have to keep trying and write a few bad songs, and then you'll write a better one, and then you'll say, wow, that one's better than all those others, I'm going in the right direction,
Yep.
That's I mentioned in my introduction, I've called upon my friends to help explain what makes a hit song. And joining us from Chicago, Illinois is Jim Peterik. And in 1964, at the age of 14, Jim Peterik co-founded the Ides of March with schoolmates in Berwyn, Illinois. I've got to do it like that because that's how Jerry G. Bishop would do it. Jim wrote and sang the evergreen hit Vehicle, dun 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 dun, and continues touring today with all the original members from 1964. In the 1970s, Jim combines his love for melody and driving rock with the band Survivor. Their phenomenal rise to the top was born on the back of the amazing songs Jim co-wrote. The Eye of the Tiger from the film Rocky III garnered Jim a Grammy, People's Choice Award, as well as an Oscar nomination. Jim also wrote Burning Heart for Rocky IV. In 1980, Jim and Southern Group 38 Special co-wrote platinum hits Hold On Loosely, Fantasy Girl, and Rockin' Into the Night. The list goes on through the years. And in 2002, Jim co-authored Songwriting for Dummies, a book that shared Jim's lifetime of successful songwriting into simple language, shedding light on some of the arcane wisdom of writing songs. Songwriting for Dummies is exactly what this episode is about. Please say hello to my friend with the purple hair, Jim Peterik. Jimbo, thank you so much for joining us. What can you share about the art of writing a song?
The more you do it, the more you increase your odds of writing that one magic song. I still am one of those serial songwriters. And I'm always, my wife is picking out the right, vegetables. I'm like scribbling down ideas or, talking into my tape recorder. Oh, well, now it's my iPhone, But you never know where the ideas are going to come from. And driving the car is a extremely relaxing for me. In fact, the song I ended up co-writing for Survivor, "The Search Is Over," the whole melody came while I was driving the car, and I had my little Sony Walkman or whatever it was, and I had the whole thing, the modulations, everything. I got home on the piano, and I found the chords, and all of a sudden, this title just kind of emerged: "The Search Is Over." And then, what am I searching for? And the real goosebump moment is when, I was sitting there writing with Frankie in the band, and I realized the search is over when you go the whole world over and you realize you had it all the time. That's when the search is over. That was the goosebump moment. But songs can come at any time, and you just got to be ready to catch it,
Jimmy, I don't know if this has ever happened before. I know the two of you have met, but also joining us, the story of Carol Connors is a fascinating one. Carol Connors is one of the women pioneers of music for film and TV. Carol Connors has been nominated twice for an Academy Award for Best Original Song, as well as nominated for 5 Emmys, 1 Grammy, 2 Golden Globes. Carol Connors' first hit song was "To Know Him Is to Love Him," written with Phil Spector, her bandmate in the Teddy Bears. "My Little Cobra," written for Carol Shelby. And "Pause, Pause, Pause," the iconic theme to Rocky, "Gonna Fly Now." Say hello to my dear, dear friend, Carol Connors. Cece, what makes a hit song, honey?
Well, I'm going to, my mentor was Berry Gordy. And we all know Berry Gordy. And Berry Gordy once said to me, and I never, ever, ever forgot this. He said, "Carol, a hit song is repetition. If it was a hit, it was infectious. If it was a miss, it was monotonous." I never forgot that, because I know that, when a song stays with you and you can't get it out of your head, I think that's just a magnificent sign of what the song can do. But nobody knows what a hit record. I mean, when I wrote "With You I'm Born Again," which I wrote with David Shire for my love affair with Robert Culp, "Come bring me your softness," none of us knew that it would become one of the great love songs of our time. None of us knew that Rocky, "Gonna Fly Now," ba 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 ba, with Bill Conti would ever become a hit. We thought the other song on the album, which, if anything, which was Shirley Bassey, "You Take My Heart Away," might do something, but "Gonna Fly Now" overshadowed everything. And I love "Eye of the Tiger."
Thank you.
Let's put
Love
Jimmy
your
on the
slide.
screen. We've got two iconic songwriters, both from the Rocky.
Yeah.
I paid
Rocky's-
$500 up front. And in my documentary, Irwin Winkler said, "Well, why did you hire her?" And he said, "She came cheap." All I can say is, "Irwin, ayo, Rocky, I can imitate Sly. Thank you, because it bought my house in Beverly Hills on the back."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
I think, Carol, I know that you really you understand the business part of the music business as well as anybody else. How has the music business changed over the last few years?
Well, of course, it's not like it was. I mean, it used to be that you had an agent, and you had, in my mind, and you had a manager and this and that. But now you can put your music right on the internet. I mean, with all the different outlets and facets that you have, and you can do your own thing on YouTube and have hit records. I mean, in my day, it didn't work that way. And I think that it's wonderful. I think it's fabulous for young artists. And I believe that, to a hit, when you can take a specific feeling and turn it into a universal thought that affects everybody, I think that's what records are all about, what music is all about. And my mother, bless her beautiful heart, used to say, "Music soothes the savage beast." And you used that, Jonathan, in the beginning. So I think the music industry is, I love rap, for instance. I just love it. I think it's the music of the street. When I remember in the very beginning, all my composer friends said, "Oh, it's never going to happen." I said, "Mark my word," because it comes from the heart and it comes from the street, and it says something. And people have to experience, and they have to feel what they feel.
What a show we have. We're going to take one short commercial break, and we're going to be right back. Stay right where you are.
Welcome to the Great American Pub, a great place to hang out with your friends, watch the game, and enjoy some great pub food. Our kitchen is open 24/7 with our full menu. Try some of our signature dishes like the Philly or clam chowder. Join us at the Great American Pub and enjoy happy hour specials. Grab a drink and enjoy great pub food from all over the country right here in Las Vegas. The Great American Pub with 2 great locations, 215 and Eastern and Flamingo and 215.
In a changing world, it's time to change how we look at college. That's why Nevada State College provides excellence with affordability, a campus with diversity, and programs that offer opportunity. Nevada State College. Be bold, be great, be state.
Jonathan Scott, On Air Education. Today's topic, songwriting, writing songs. We've got just so many stars with us. It's I'm thrilled to have everybody with us. Keith Thompson is joining us now. Keith is a songwriter himself, former music director of the Jersey Boys, founder and host of the Composers Showcase, almost monthly. I say almost monthly because he's skipped this month at the Smith Center for the Performing Arts. Keith, thank you for joining this special episode. What can you share with our audience about the art of songwriting? Do you write every day?
These days, yeah, I do. I've recently been contracted by a Chinese children's theater company in China, and they asked me to write a whole bunch of songs. So I've written about 20 songs in the last month. Wow. Yeah, and the question of whether or not it's inspiration, or sometimes you just have to write because somebody paid you. So, but you always want to be inspired, and you always want to rely on that. There's part inspiration, then it's part skill. Part craft. So you put all those things together. The way I like to think of it is that all music was original music. At some point, it was somebody's baby before it became a hit. So that's what we do with the Composer Showcase, is to try to put it out there and give people an opportunity to write and to put their music out there, and maybe they will have the next hit. That's what we're all about. We're really just kind of trying to champion the songwriter.
Paul, I have to ask you, one of our questions from our associate producer, Carol Hattar, do you feel that songwriting is a great way for children to process their feelings in a positive, constructive way?
Absolutely.
I do. I know I struggle at writing songs. I get stuck. I come up with ideas. I get like guitar chord parts going, or I get some words going, but I can never seem to ever get them to match together. But I feel like it does help them. I try to use that in my classroom every year. We talk about chord progressions and how to write songs. I've had some kids do some really cool things with it.
Well, if you have an all-star panel, what questions do you have for any of our guests?
I guess my question for any of them is, in yours, what comes first, the chords or the melody lyrics? Like, where do you guys start from? Because I can't seem to put it together myself.
I start with a phone call. That's somebody that needs a song. And my most famous phone call, and Carol can relate to this. I thought it was a joke. Hey, yo, Jim, that's a nice answering machine you got there. Give me a call, Sylvester Stallone. And I said, this is a joke. This is my road manager putting me on, and my wife, Karen, God bless her, says, you better call him back just in case that's Stallone. And, sometimes a thing like that, he sent us a rough cut of the movie, and me and Frank went to town. We wouldn't have written Eye of the Tiger if it wasn't for Stallone, if it wasn't for that clip of the movie that he sent us, and hearing that phrase in the movie, which he let us use, no charge, God bless him. And for me, an assignment is really, really kind of cool, because it's like going to school again, and you cram for exams, a few hours before the test, and you ace it. That's what a lot of times what a great song is all about.
And I'm gonna ask our panel, does anybody have any questions for Paul as an educator?
How many students do you have that are actually writing? How many
I have
writing?
I have a few students that are writing across our school. There's probably a dozen total. I know one of our band students is really into arranging, and he's a percussionist, and he's going to arrange some stuff for my guitar ensemble kids to play at our spring concert. We're because of Zelda, as being 35 years, he's going to arrange some of the Zelda music because he's into doing those types of things. I have a couple kids that are writing songs and want to be musicians. So I'm telling them, just go for it, do it, go for it, have fun. and just try. You got to do it.
Yeah.
I know
remember-
all of our guests.
Jonathan, may I say something?
Yeah, of course.
Because it's a question I want to ask. I truly believe that there's a saying I have. If you don't eat it, sleep it, think it, drink it, need it, forget it. Do you see in some of your students that passion, that incredible passion that you can't stop? You just can't stop it. Can you spot that?
I see it in a few of my students. There's one of my students in particular in my class currently this year who really wants to be a musician. And I'm like, well, that is a awesome goal. You can do it, because I feel like he is talented. He's writing his own songs already. He's one of the students that learned more on his own because I gave him a guitar last year than I taught him distance-wise. So it is there, and you do see it through some of the students. I know I've had some private students I've taught privately that did the same idea. They wrote their own songs. It was in them, and they had the ability to do it. Whether they follow through with it or not, I don't know, but they have the ability to do it. I can see it out of some of them. And I feel like most of the students I'm trying to teach is just give them a skill that they can use for the rest of their life. And have fun playing at something. Learn music, because it is a pathway to great things.
The biggest question that we talk about all the time is engagement. And Don, I would like to ask you if there's any secrets, tips that you use in actually, as a performer, engaging your audience.
Well, thank you for asking me that. And I want to just thank the teacher, because these are really unsung heroes in our society who spend their lives working with sometimes interested kids and sometimes disinterested, but putting this in the air, putting it in their head. And, just because you don't respond to something now doesn't mean it can't come back later and think, wow, I remember that from music class or something, so thank you very much for doing that with your life, and you should get paid more. But the other thing I wanted to say, that both my children, I have a son and a daughter, they're very creative. They both write songs. They do all kinds of things. And my son is a better guitar player than I am. But I had fun with him because he had a song that he knew well, and I said, well, let's have some fun. I want to show you what it is like to be a professional performer, okay? Now, first of all, you realize you have to do an hour and a half to 2 hours, and everything you do has to be perfect. You can't forget the words. You can't say, oh, gee, I'm sorry, I want to start over. Everything has to be perfect. Now, let's just take this one song that you know, and you start singing it. And I mean, you have to hit all the notes, play all the parts correctly. And the minute you make your first mistake, I'll hold my hand up and you have to start over. So we got like a third of the way through the song a few times, and then he understood. And the key, I said, is practice. And you got to practice all the time. When I was 14, 15, just getting started, nothing would get in my way. I would practice 4 hours a day, and just get these basic things down so that, they were second nature to me. So when I was on stage as a young teenager, you lose your place, and suddenly, everything goes out the window, So the more you practice, the more that doesn't ever happen.
So as a young person, what I guess that's what I would ask the panel: what tools for engagement they would use as songwriters or performers?
What I use with them, I guess now, is I try to get things that they're into. Like I try to, as I'm starting with beginning guitar students, I try to teach them things that I hope they find interesting. And I'm starting to discover that a lot of the things that I gravitate to are now like 30 years old. So I'm starting to find other things that I could use that are current, like songs. Like if I'm teaching them how to play an A minor chord to a C chord to a D chord, I'm gonna try to find some current type things that'll help the kids to try to do it. because as I talk to my students today, like playing chords is easy. Changing them is the hard part. And then it just takes lots of practice. Like as much as Don said, the key is practice. And the more you practice, the better you get, the easier it gets.
No, I
What comes
said it
first, the
earlier.
music or the lyrics?
In the song American Pie, for example, and this is when I was very young and I was better, you know, I'm pretty old now, but I was at my top of my game in those days, and I sang the whole song from a long time ago right through to the day the music died, exactly like that into a tape recorder.
Wow.
And when I did that, I said, what the heck is that?
That's
You know?
amazing.
Amen.
Yep, that's what
Well, I
was
want to
trying
thank
say.
everybody for joining us. And Paul, I want to thank you for helping out today, but more importantly, what you do with our kids and with your students. So we appreciate that.
Thank you for having me. This was a very enjoyable conversation. I've learned so much about these artists that I didn't know, and like where they came from. That's really cool.
I think we should end it with a rousing chorus of American Pie. And thank everybody. Certainly Don McLean, thank you so much for joining us. Carol
My
Connors
pleasure.
from Beverly Hills, Jimmy Peterik from Points in Chicago, and Keith Thompson in California. And let's do it. So let's just end it with Bye Bye Miss American
Key of
Pie.
G.
G flat.
But the liquor was dry. Good old boys is
Drinking whiskey and
and
rye.
rye, singing.
Yeah. This will be the day that I die. Thank
Little
you,
more-
everybody. Thank you,
little
Don
more-
McLean,
little-
Jimmy
little more
Peterik,
practice.
Keith Thompson,
I know, I'll get it.
Carol Connors, Clint Holmes, my
you.
good friend, and Paul. Thank you so much again. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want any more information on the show, you could send me an email at news1lasvegas@gmail.com. And as always, eat well, party hard, and one more thing, please be nice to each other. Thanks for watching. To watch the complete unedited version with more from our talented guests, visit our website at onaireducation.com.